What is up, guys? In today's video, I'm going to talk about Cardano's super performance, Goldman Sachs relaunching their crypto desk, why Bitcoin is destined to trade at $1 million, you heard that right, at 7 figures, and much more. Let's go. What is up, everybody? I'm Scott Melker, also known as the Wolf of Wall Street, and today we're talking about all the important news that's affecting the crypto market today, and there is quite a bit of it. First, please hit subscribe and go ahead and smash that like button right down below and never miss an update or another one of these videos in the future. So let's dive right into the news. As I mentioned in the beginning, we're going to talk about Cardano first. Cardano made big news today by becoming a multi-asset blockchain. They had a hard fork, the merry hard fork, and now are opening up to the capability of being able to have smart contracts. This is very exciting for people in the Cardano community, but it's important to note that still means that they're years behind Ethereum in competing. So as exciting as it is, it's something worth keeping in mind that this is really just the beginning of ADA opening their capabilities to become a competitor of Ethereum. That said, Cardano's ADA token tripled in February to outperform. Now, Cardano is up year-to-date 760%. Started at 17 cents at the beginning of January to its maximum of $1.46 the end of February. Today, it's trading between $1.25 and $1.30. It's outperformed Bitcoin, Ethereum, and basically every major coin, and eventually managed to become the number 3 coin by market cap, hitting $40 billion market cap. So I'm curious, do you guys have any Cardano? What's your opinion on the project? Do you think that it can really become an Ethereum killer, as they say, and that it can compete? Or do you think that they're too far behind? I'd love to hear your opinion in the comments. Now, moving on to some more Bitcoin related news. Goldman Sachs is relaunching their crypto desk after a 3-year pause. Many may remember famously that they announced the launch of the desk in 2017 in December, right at the dead top of the market. Even Peter Brandt yesterday joked that they have a bad history of being a top because he pointed that out in 2017 and predicted that it could potentially be a top this time. Not something that I'm particularly concerned about because it's a very different market. Now, last time they launched their desk, they faced some regulatory constraints, but now they plan to support Bitcoin futures, launch a Bitcoin ETF, and offer custody services to their clients. Now, listen, I have no particular love for Goldman Sachs, but this is a clear signal that the big boys are either here or are on their way into the market. And I think that this is just still the tip of the iceberg of institutional adoption. I think that this is generally very bullish news for the space. The next article, why $1 million Bitcoin is coming. Now, this is a very simple argument and one that seems kind of crazy and absurd, but it really isn't. The argument here is look at what MicroStrategy and Tesla have done, how much it's effective price with their small buys and their commitment to adding Bitcoin to their balance sheet. Well, what happens when we see companies like Apple or Google or Facebook announce that they're putting Bitcoin on their balance sheet and viewing it as a treasury asset? The asset Bitcoin is still really small, so these huge purchases that happen over time can drive the price insanely high. So there's no reason to believe that we won't continue to see that as we see more adoption. Now listen, we know that MicroStrategy continues to buy. Michael Saylor hosted a conference for upwards of 2,000 executives who are interested in buying Bitcoin. As I've said before, if even only 5% of those 100 companies come in, imagine what that would do for the price. We've seen price go up from roughly $10,000 all the way up to over $50,000 just on a couple companies. So I think that is not out of the realistic expectations, and I think that we could potentially see that in the future if we continue to see institutional interest and adoption. Next, this is a really fun story. Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful, flips on Bitcoin, says he's buying Bitcoin after crypto game changer. Kevin O'Leary was one of the biggest critics of Bitcoin. He called it garbage. He said it was vapor. He said that it was useless. He said all of these things. And I gotta say, Pomp has been working on him for years, just railing against him on CNBC, endlessly giving him crap until finally it seems he's come around. Now, he points to the reason that he's come around as much clearer regulation. He said, in Switzerland and Canada, he's seen it regulated now. And obviously that gives him a bit more confidence, but he thinks now digital currencies are here to stay, and even said that he's looking to invest in miners. He has 3% of his assets in crypto and is looking to raise that to 5%. He finally looks like Mr. Wonderful. We were all starting to doubt whether he had earned that name and could keep it, but I guess we'll let him ride with it for now. Mr. Wonderful indeed. In the next story, the CBOE ratchets up Bitcoin ETF pressure on the SEC. The CBOE, one of the first to allow people to trade Bitcoin futures, has metaphorically smashed the SEC's door and put a 102-page document on their desk that respectfully asks for approval to list VanEck Bitcoin ETF. Now, we all know the VanEck Bitcoin ETF has not even been approved yet, but this is really putting their foot on the throat of the SEC to go ahead and approve an ETF. The approval of the ETF many view as the end game for institutional adoption of Bitcoin. Many institutions still don't have a vehicle that they can legally invest in. That's why we've seen GBTC, Grayscale be so popular. But once there's an ETF, the floodgates could open because they will have an instrument that they can buy legally, they can be in compliance, and they can get access to trading Bitcoin. So this would be huge, and seeing this level of pressure put from the CBOE is very bullish. I've always said I believe an ETF is coming this year, and that will be really the final boss for Bitcoin. So we're going to be keeping our eyes on that very closely. And finally, Elizabeth Warren says Bitcoin is going to end badly. Why did she say that? She says because Janet Yellen is a really smart woman, and Warren claims that there was no room for ambiguity in Yellen's words. You will remember that Yellen said a lot of negative things about Bitcoin, basically that it was being used for criminals, that it was inefficient, it was not a good payment system, and a whole lot of other things. And so Elizabeth Warren has jumped on the bandwagon. But what I say to Elizabeth Warren and our politicians is maybe stop worrying about Bitcoin and start worrying about the scam that is the United States stock market, economy, government, central banks, all of those things, because we all know that stocks are artificially inflated by infinite money printing, and that money printing is devaluing the dollar for future generations and for poor people who don't have access to hard assets. So you want to talk about what's going to end badly? Your endless money printing towards hyperinflation and the death of the US dollar is what's going to end badly. Leave Bitcoin alone. That's it for today, guys. Thank you for taking the time. Once again, please subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, join my newsletter, follow my sponsor, FEMX. You can see all of that down in the description. Thank you so much for taking the time, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.